Hello, bruv. We got a few more books from yesterday. I decided to go out to a store, and then when I got there, I found one book. Well, I found multiple books, but they had raised the price from 25 cents to 75 for paperback and $1 to 150 for hardcover. And I said, that's all. And I got one book. It's not this one. And then I was walking around to find other rubbish amongst the ruins, and lo and, lo and behold, I saw somebody I didn't want to see, and I fucking hightailed it out of there. So that was simple. Then I went across the street to a new store that I just noticed on the way in, and apparently they have half off Tuesdays, so I got a bunch of books for, well, $5 for $1.80. So I spent a grand total of $3.30 on 6 books, roughly 50 cents a piece. Angels and Demons by Mrs. George Needham. Mrs. George. Effed over. Hey, effed over. Son of a bitch. Talk about being effed over, buddy. By demons, nonetheless. The Nature of Angels. Started reading a little bit of this book. I don't believe in this poppycock. I mean, there's a lot of demonic people, but I don't think they have the grandiosity of a man, an angel man named Satan. Satan. Where's that page? The dignity of Satan. Satan, the devil and his demons. The discussion under this division must be limited to the demonology of Scripture. From the earliest ages of man, the belief has been nearly universal that mortals could hold converse with beings of organism, and powers superior to their own. Men, under all conditions, have manifested a desire to break through the mysterious bound which the Creator has established. That's supposed to be bond. The material and spiritual worlds. The fallen sons of Adam have blindly confessed their need of a helper and guide wiser than themselves. Yet, with the perverse instincts of a sinful nature, they have invariably turned away from God's own authorized revelation and sought counsel through forbidden channels. Hundreds of volumes have been written, recording cases of demonology, witchcraft, spiritual ecstasy, and modernized spiritualism. These histories are foul, startling, and absurd, nor would they be worthy of attention here. Only that so many of the incidents seem fully authenticated, yet it is difficult to comprehend how men and women of average common sense could have been deceived by such silly and fictitious pretensions to supernatural communication. On the other hand, many books have been written in the interest of science to prove that all such cases of the apparently supernatural were attributable to one of 4 primary causes: sleight of hand, sensorial deception, mental disease, or hypnotism. And while such scientific and psychical efforts have accomplished immense and wholesome results in tearing to tatters the veil of superstition, which, alas, enwraps not a few of us all, yet many of these writings have wrought incalculable mischief, in that they have flung to the winds of contempt with godless hand those actual divine mysteries, which, though ridiculed, are not explained to the satisfaction of the thoughtful and honest mind. With weariness and disgust, the intelligent Christian, enlightened by the Spirit of God, turns from the distorted testimony of men to that one book which alone casts reasonable light upon this most fascinating, dangerous, and awful truth: the presence and power of Satan in the earth. It's actually pretty good. I like her. Day by Day, Robert Lowell. Now, mind you, When you look at a guy like Robert Lowell, you don't particularly like him. And then you delve into the poetry, and it's not particularly to my liking either. It's not permanent. It's temporal musings. Sometimes interesting, but don't amount to a pile of piss in the eternal. Long awash and often touching bottom by the sea's great green gold light, I found my exhaustion the light of the world. She wants her house askew, kept keys to lost locks, unidentifiable portraits, dead things wrapped in paper. See, this means nothing. Means nothing. Young, he made strategic choices. In middle age, he accepts his unlikely life to come. He will die like others as the gods will, drowning his last crew in uncharted ocean. 10 years before Troy, 10 years before Circe, things changed to the names he gave them, then lost their names. Myrmidons, Spartans, soldiers of dire Ulysses. Why should I renew his infamous sorrow? He had his party, thought of building the wooden horse as big as a house, and ended the 10 Years' War. By force of fraud, he says, I did what neither Diomades nor Achilles, son of Thetis, nor the Greeks with their 1,000 ships. I destroyed Troy. But it's more luxurious than waking up at 5 with the sun in 3 hours free. Closing this book is one. Anyway, the reason why I bought these books, the ones that I did bought, The Fat Man in the Mirror. What's filling up the mirror? Or is it not I, hair belly like a beaver's house, an old dog's eye? The forenoon was blue in the mad king's zoo. Nurse was swinging me so high, so high. Listen. What's this say? 2 stanzas. What is that? Involved with 3. I can't. 3 something judgments. Death of the sheriff. We park and stare, a full sky of stars, wheels from the pumpkin setting of the moon, and sparks the windows of the yellow farm, where the red-flanneled madmen look through bars at windows, thrashing snowflakes by an arm of the Atlantic. Soon the undertaker who collects antiques will let his motor idle at the door, and set his pine box on the parlor floor. Our homicidal sheriff howled for weeks. We kissed. The state had reasons on the whole. It acted out of kindness when it locked. I'm going to get to my point here. I only got it because I'm interested in John Berryman, specifically his sonnets and his dream songs. His earlier works was just as tedious as Lowell's. And it's possibly because he had an influence on Lowell, and the influence apparently stopped with the early works, a la homage to Anne Broadstreet, Mrs. Broadstreet, whatever the fuck it was. So I got the book on Lowell's, all the Lowells, Amy included. I got them all. For the first time, Lowell didn't sign the letter Bobby. He is now affectionately Cal. Let's find the part about Berryman. Lowell's correspondence with $439, $350. Let's see what he thought of Johnny Berryman. The notion of there being a sort of generic curse on the poets of his generation was recurring, Time and again in Lowell's letters of this time, and it was encouraged on all sides by critical articles that proposed Lowell and John Berryman as victim heroes of the age, each of them salvaging his work from the edge of some kind of personal abyss. Lowell's own identification with Berryman as a co-explorer of risky psychological terrain was certainly becoming more and more heartfelt as one by one the others of his generation were cut down by early deaths. In 1966, the news of Berryman was persistently of his bad health, his drinking, and his breakdowns, and Lowell seems to have followed the reports with a resigned dread. In recent years, his regard for Berryman's poems had deepened. In 1959, he had been undecided about Berryman's idiosyncratic new language as it appeared in homage to Mistress Bradstreet. In the very first of the dream songs he had written to him, and then, I wonder if you need so much twisting, obscurity, and archaism, strange word orders and signs for, and etc. I guess you do, surely. Here, as in the Bradstreet, you have your voice. It vibrates. It makes the heart ache. I mean, now you understand why I need this guy in my life. I do. And I probably won't ever revisit Berryman beyond some epistle to Agathka. Mr. Berryman, peace is perhaps of some value as a record of a man's struggle with the text. By 1969, he had been won over to the style and he wore a guardedly favorable review of 77 Dream songs. So yeah, that's where that comes in. Tom Brown's Field Guide to Wilderness Survival. Hunting ethics. There is responsibility in the taking of any life. Shut up. Chicory. I wonder if there's anything on Virginia spiderwort. $100 edible plants. I'm not eating fucking plants, dude. This guy's making a fire with a stick. Look at this fucking Dan Haggerty looking motherfucker. Make fire with fire. This guy's got it. Safety, filtering, boiling, sources, collecting water. And don't eat snow or ice. It takes a lot of energy to melt snow and ice when you eat it. And in cold weather, you can't afford any drain on your stamina. Therefore, it's best to melt these substances and to warm the water slightly before ingesting it. Well, snow is usually pure and probably won't need further treatment. Bacteria might have existed in the ice, so boil it to be on the safe side. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm still here in the video. Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain, translated from the German by H.T. Lowe Porter. It's a Franklin Library edition, and I only paid $1.50 for it. As you can see, the gilded edges are not perfect, but they're perfect enough for what I need it for, which is to put it on a shelf. Wasn't there something else I needed to visit? Look, I got somebody's book plate. A fancy little generic one. Off to the front it will go. No, there was one thing I needed to show. Just so I don't forget myself. Not forget myself, but forget myself. Now I don't see it anywhere in the book. Where the fuck did it go? My God, I lost it, I think. There it is. There it is. Now this, I don't know what it means. Operator's record, system supervisor, station operator. Station was Plymouth. I wonder what this is about. It could be anything from trains to the phone company to the police. Request number station. Obviously 1900s. Don't know what it is. Anyway, that's all.